There are three rules to maintaining friendship in adulthood, and they're not what you would expect them to be. In this video, we're going to dive into these rules and what we can do to use them to maintain and create new friendships once we reach adulthood. All right, before we dive into the three rules, let's talk about how we learned, or more importantly, didn't learn how to create and maintain friendships in childhood. And most of us remember growing up, for most of us, it was pretty easy to create and maintain friendships. Then we hit adulthood and we find ourselves having few or maybe even no friends, unfortunately. And it's a pain in the butt. It's like, how do I meet new people? How do I maintain my friendships or rekindle them from childhood? And we don't have a freaking clue. All right, so based on our discussion, right, from childhood, you can see that we really weren't set up for success when it comes to creating and maintaining friendships in adulthood. This is where these three rules come in that I told you you'd be surprised about. Now, what these rules are, they are proximity, timing, and energy. Now, you don't need all three to maintain or create a successful friendship in adulthood, but you need at least two as a general rule of thumb. There are exceptions, but let's dive into each of these rules, what they mean, and how they apply once we hit adulthood. The first of these rules is proximity. Proximity is pretty straightforward here. We're talking about geographical location. The closer you live to your friends in adulthood, the easier it's going to be. There's less factor involved. If they live further than that, it's going to take some extra planning, like setting out very specific weekends. You're probably going to be setting up in between locations, things like that, to meet at. So there's a lot more work involved, and as a result, you won't get together as often. The next rule is timing. Now, timing refers to the stage of life you're in. Now, for me at 40, the timing is different for all my friends. I have some friends who have toddlers. I have friends who have teenagers. I don't have children. Some of us are deeper into our careers. Some are going to school still. You get what I'm saying. And then let's take it when you entered the workforce. You had coworkers, you got along well with them, but they were 20 years older than you. So you really couldn't relate to them because, again, you're starting out in life, recently graduated, probably not married yet, don't have kids. These coworkers, hell, they might even have grandkids, just want to talk about their grandchildren, and you don't have a clue. You can't relate. Those struggles are different. And as a result, this brings us into rule 3. And rule 3 is energy. Now, energy is going to pertain more to the focus at the stage you are in life. Now, you might be in a similar stage to one of your friends, like you might have kids about the same age, but your friend might be starting a business, or you might be. Or in my instance, I'm working on getting this YouTube channel going and trying to reach and help as many people as I can to help find better purpose in their life, greater happiness, that road to self-improvement. But then I have other friends that they're just, they're going to work, coming home, running their kids to, different name your sport event throughout the year. Like, I have a good friend and we don't get together that often, and it's that reason. I don't have children. I don't have the commitment. I invest, some of my free time into this. They have 4 kids. All the kids play sports, and it's like you get a few week reprieve, and then boom, the next sports season starts. So with that timing, there's the lack of relating, but then the energy has to be focused differently. So that friend is focusing their energy on making sure their kids get to all their sports events and playing parent. I don't have to do that. So then it just makes it more difficult to get together and hang out. Okay, now that we have an understanding of these 3 rules, Let's first give ourselves some relief. Now, I know we've all been there. We have a friend that we used to be close to. All of a sudden, they're hanging out with other people. We don't hear from them as much, and we start this spiral and wonder what is wrong with us. Like, do they not like us? Like, what's going on? They could even be hanging out with a friend that you may have introduced them to, and you're like, what's going on? Like, why do they hate me? They're not including me. And you start the spying scroll on social media. It's a downward spiral. Well, guess what? With these rules, you can start to recognize that it's not anything like that. It's not them not liking you. It's a combination of those three rules not being there anymore. So I'll use the example of my friend that we used to get together probably monthly, every few weeks, and now optimistically it's probably quarterly. Well, at first with that friend, I'd see them, hanging out with other people, doing different things, and I would just really question, like, what the hell happened? And, was quite hurt at first. Of course, never brought it up just because I kept it to myself. And, at times there was anger, there was sadness, what have you. I know we've all been there. I don't want to stress and be dramatic about it. But then as I learned these rules and I thought about it, I really saw that only one of the rules at the moment really applied, and the fact that we still got together quarterly, still text each other with some frequently, is honestly almost a miracle if you think about it. It means that, there is some little bit of energy left, not to be able to get together regularly. But, our friendship actually is pretty dang strong if we're still getting together quarterly. Even if, I see them go and hang out with other people, I'm doing the same thing. It's okay. It's, just fine. And, it'll bring you into my second example with my other friend. This other friend, we went almost 20 years without hanging out. It was really crazy. Like, we hung out a little bit right after we graduated. This is one of my childhood friends. Heck, we even had a punk band where we tried to be like Blink 182. And I run into him at my 20th high school anniversary. Come to find out, all of a sudden now we have two of the three things there. Those two of those three rules definitely applied. And even the third one kind of did. So come to find out, he's living right around the corner from my parents. My parents only live like 15 minutes away from me. So boom, we have the proximity rule that's in place. Timing, still a little different. I never started having children. I got married, but from there, no other pieces of the family came. His kids are now older. He has what's now a senior in high school. They can take care of the family. He has his dad living with him, so he has the built-in babysitters. So now the timing is a little bit more similar to me. They can get out, be a little bit more social, focus on some of those other things, and they have more free time. Well, then that also brings in the energy. Because of those things, the devotion of going to soccer games, all of that isn't necessarily there because the oldest one is there. They're more independent. The other two kids can be left alone a little bit more. So there's more energy to devote to other things. So over the last year or two, we've grown to be a lot closer, a hell of a lot closer than we've been for the last 20 years. And that friendship came back, and that can happen to some of your friendships. Now, I will tell you there was some work, and this is where you take responsibility on the maintaining. And when you meet somebody new to create, you need to be the one that reaches out first. Don't wait for them, because they're probably doing the same thing you're doing. They're like, oh, I hope they reach out. So with this friend, they gave me their number, kind of waited and said like, hey, let's meet up for lunch. We found out also the proximity, their office actually that gap was even closer. I was off on Mondays. They went into their office on Mondays. And So we were like, hey, let's grab lunch. Well, I had to text first. We met up, we went to lunch, they started texting back as well. And boom, like all of a sudden we were getting together a lot more often. We started arranging date nights, our wives became friends, and now we get together a decent bit. We're closer than we've been since we were teenagers. And that new friendship, or yeah, it almost is a new friendship in a way. Now you can do that with other people. Now, it's kind of like my friend that I'm not as close to. They were going to soccer games with their kids, extracurriculars, going to a different church. They're meeting people that live closer to them. They are in a similar stage in life, like their kids are playing soccer together, or, name your sport. And then the energy is going to be devoted to those things, so they are devoting similar energy levels and are able to socialize more as a result. And that can happen to you. So stay on the lookout for other people that, there's that criteria, the proximity, the timing, and then devote the energy to starting that new friendship. Get their phone number, say, hey, I think we should hang out. You seem pretty cool. And it might be awkward. In fact, it is going to be awkward as hell at first. None of us, we're not wired. Again, that's not something we really learned growing up. So you do that. Now this, like I say, these rules seem kind of unconventional, and it's a new light. Now I could keep rambling on about this, but I'm not, because we're getting a little bit longer than I like to go personally. But I hope you found this video to be valuable. And if you are into continuing your journey, go ahead and click this video that's going to be up here. And it's going to be specifically selected for you based upon your likes and searching and browsing history. And with that, I look forward to seeing you on the next one.